Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Coach and Company. Of course, I am not Coach. Coach is out traveling. I am Jonathan Zaslow. I will be your host today. And of course, you can check me out wherever you get your podcast, Zaslow Show 2.0, as we are a Miami-based podcast. But here, Coach and Company, we deal with everything going on in the world of sports. And of course, we got all your hot plays to get your week started off right. Good to have you aboard here on a Monday. You know, there's a lot happening on Stadium and, of course, involving everything with the brand. And that includes 1 p.m. Eastern time today. You got the Coach and Bro Show. That's right. That'll be on YouTube. And tonight, 11 p.m. Eastern time, you have The Last Word. That is on Stadium. So even though we're at a break right now, no more football. We're at a break with the NBA, NHL as well. You still got a lot going on from over the weekend. We're going to make sure you get the week started off right. So you know what? Let's bring in our pals and get to beat the books. Yes, look at our pals we got today. Look at these beautiful putums. We got Rafael here with us. We got Charles with us. We got DG here with us. Rafael, how you doing? Good morning. You off to a good start here on a Monday?
It's a Monday. It's a low schedule of betting, but it's a great Monday. The sun is shining, so there's always something to find to cash.
Charles, did we have a decent enough weekend?
Morning, Zaslow Company. It was all right. We'll discuss that later about my feelings on some of the soccer situations, but no complaints over here.
All right, DG showing those pearly whites. He's in a great mood already this morning. Hello, good morning.
Morning, Z. Good morning, guys. Listen, it is a Monday, and Mondays suck. We know that. And this is Z-Man Show, so we're going to say suck as many times as possible. But it is a beautiful week, even though it is going to be 10 degrees all week, which I don't know this groundhog, what's he doing? But, can he, get, the script, a better script, and we go to a little bit warmer climate? Because this sucks, Z-Man. It sucks.
Well, I mean, you walk outside here in South Florida. You're out back in the Zaslow Mansion, back inside and change your shirt, schwitzing all over the place. So the weather not so hot over here. But let's get to some of the action from this weekend, guys, before we get to our plays to beat the books. NBA All-Star was front and center. It really seemed like there was so much negativity going into it. All eyes were on the whole weekend, especially on the game Sunday night. Are the players going to try? Rafael, was this weekend a win or a loss for the NBA?
Repeat what you said. Front and center. This NBA All-Star Weekend wasn't front and center. It was behind everything that was going on. It was behind women's college hoops. It was behind foreign nations. I kind of see why they moved the format. It was kind of enjoyable, but they were behind the 8 ball before the weekend even started.
Win or loss?
Yeah, I'll say loss.
Charles, win or loss this weekend for the NBA?
I'm kind of in the middle. I kind of like the new format. I thought the 3-point contest was good. I thought the dunk contest was okay. Yeah, I think it was okay. I give it a medium grade.
The 3-point contest is always good. There's no reason the 3-point contest would not be good. The dunk contest is usually hit or miss. A lot of times these days it's a miss because you don't have the big stars. People want to see the stars. Overall this weekend, DG, the NBA All-Star was a win or a loss for the league.
I'd say it has to be a loss just because there's so much surrounding it. Let's just start off with Friday night. You had CP3 and Wemby try to hack the skills challenge. Saturday night went off pretty fine. And then Sunday, you have LeBron sit, Anthony Edwards sit, and then you have majority of commercials or entertainment instead of the game. That's really the reason they get the loss, is because there wasn't enough game time.
DG, I saw the numbers from last night. It was a 3-hour broadcast, okay? And, it was 3 games this year. You had this 2 semifinal games, and then you had a final game, which, my God, the final game starts at 10:20 p.m. Eastern time. It's Sunday night. I understand it's President's Day today, but look at all of us. We're working today. People are still working on a Monday morning, even though it's President's Day. The final game starts at 10:20 p.m. Eastern time on a Sunday. But DG, I saw some stats yesterday how on a 3-hour broadcast, there was 42 minutes worth of basketball played. There was so much fluff.
Yeah. And that's what it comes down to is it was the fluff that really just spoiled it because the game in itself, the reason they're playing it this way is because they didn't try in the previous years. So the game itself on the court was incredible. It was actually entertaining. It was good, but it was the fluff that surrounded Z that really just spoiled the whole entire night. And honestly, the whole entire weekend. So everybody looks at this as a negative now because of how last night ended up.
Yeah, I think the weekend was overall a major loss for the NBA. I don't think that the new format was any worse than the previous few years because the bar was so unbelievably low. So it's not as if doing it this way was worse than what we've seen, but I certainly don't think it was any better. And it's an interesting point, Rafael, that DG made where he talks about how there's a reason why we've gotten to this format. I'm watching the broadcast last night, and it's in between one of the games, so they've thrown to the panel on TNT, the Inside the NBA panel, and it's Adam Lefko and Vince Carter and Jalen Rose and Draymond Green. It's the Inside the NBA B team, all right? And Draymond Green is going on and on about how terrible this format is. This format stinks, blah, 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 without any kind of context, any self-awareness as to why they're doing this format. They're doing this format because you guys ruined it. There's a reason why they're trying the BS. I couldn't believe the lack of self-awareness from Draymond Green last night.
I was listening. I thought maybe he thought he was on his podcast. I mean, he didn't think he was on the air. He's like, hey, maybe I'm on my podcast. I can say whatever I want because, wow, he was just spewing out negative after negative after negative. But I'm sure the higher ups aren't happy. And I'm very curious to see what the ratings were. They had to go against some big non-sports. The White Lotus on HBO. Food Network started their Tournament of Champions. I'm dying to see what the ratings were because there was a lot of commercials on other things you could have watched last night.
Rafael, should folks have went out and saw Captain America Brave New World instead of watching the All-Star?
Oh, yeah, definitely watch the Captain America besides the All-Star game. Even though the Captain America movie was, I can't believe they made Harrison Ford a 90-year-old Incredible Hulk, but I would rather watch that than the All-Star game.
Charles, did you make it up through all of the All-Star festivities last night? Were you able to get through the night?
Yeah, surprisingly, I made it all the way through, and I witnessed Draymond's negativity. I was quite surprised. I wonder if that'll have a carryover to his days after the NBA, if they'll remember that. It wasn't he didn't have pleasant remarks. I was quite surprised.
I mean, look, there's one side where, hey, it's good to be honest. You want your broadcasters, you want your opinion makers to be honest, but you can't be crushing the show that you're on. You can't be crushing the product. Draymond Green, there was all kinds of negativity around the NBA going into All-Star Weekend. Draymond Green spent the whole weekend telling you how boring and how awful the NBA is, DG.
Yeah, and that's what really that upset me is you have a chance, and he talked a lot about the negativity of allowing the rising stars on the main stage of a Saturday night or Sunday night with the All Star team. But like realistically, you could have taken a different stance and saying, "Hey, this is a chance to show the fans of the NBA that is around the country and around the world watching our product to see the young and up and coming stars, which are the rising stars." Look at these young guys that are coming, and they honestly will be all stars in the future. And so that was a chance for them to build up the product. Instead, he chose to tear it all down like he normally does.
Yeah, overall, the weekend was a loss. I don't know how anyone comes out of the All-Star weekend for the NBA and say, wait, this is a great showcase. All right, let's get to it here, guys. Let's beat the books. Okay, Rafael, that's on me. I thought we were going to do another intro for Beat the Books. Let's get to your picks here. Let's get the week started off right. What do you got for us?
We're going to college basketball because that's all we can do today is college basketball, maybe win a couple soccer games. But we're going to the Duke game who plays Virginia tonight. And if you like scoring, maybe don't watch Virginia. But this is not the same Virginia team. That's why we like the team total of Duke going over 72.5. We'll lay the minus 120. Duke's averaging almost 80 points a game this year, 79.9 a points per game and 77 on the road. This is not the same Virginia defense we've seen in years past. 16 out of their 25 games this year Virginia has played have gone over the total. So I just think Duke has a field day. Who scored a century over the weekend against this conference? I think Duke has a big game, winning again on the road.
Excellent job there, Rafael. Duke, of course, right now, one of the projected number one seeds over top four number one seeds for the NCAA tournament coming up next month, but still with a handful of ACC games to play. Charles, let's hear from you. Help us get the week start off on the right foot. What do you got?
Italy, Serie with a little Genoa, who concede 1.3 goals at home, and they welcome Venezia to town, and they concede 2 goals on the highway. You know this is a both teams to score match all day long, as I see a 1-1 final score here at worst.
Corner kicks, no over-under corner kicks for me. I mean, you knew I was hosting the show today. I love a good over-under on corners. You can't throw me a bone here?
I tried to get to it. They just keep rising them and rising them. So I'm trying to find one for you. Trust me.
I love nothing more than watching a little footy and then hoping that ball just goes out of bounds behind the goalie and give me a corner. Oh, I love it. DG, what do you got for us here on a Monday?
I'm going to stay in that Duke and Virginia game like Rafael is. I'm going to go over on the total of 131.5. It's at minus 115. As he was talking about Duke and Virginia, but Duke has gone over 4 in the last 6. Virginia set over in a 7 in the last 8. I see this being a 74-64 game. The reason I kind of stayed away from the spread, which I kind of initially liked, but I'm going to go over on the total of the 131.5. And then we're going to go to Baylor. Minus 115 on the money line. Baylor is 12-1 at home this season. Arizona 5-3 as a away team and 2-2 as an underdog. Baylor might not be ranked, but they are very, very good at home. So I'm going to ride with the Baylor Bears at home at minus 115.
How much attention did you pay over the weekend to the college basketball? Both sides, even the women, you had a major, well, I guess, I don't know, maybe it's a major upset. Maybe it's not. Number 7, UConn winning a game can't be considered a major upset. But South Carolina, Dawn Staley and them girls, they hadn't lost a home game in 1,000 years. There was major college basketball action over the weekend. How much attention did you pay with all the NBA stuff going on?
I watched a lot more of that than the NBA stuff, in all honesty. But seeing that UConn team, like you said, it's not an upset. But when you get punched in the mouth the way that the South Carolina did, like that has to go for something. And so shout out to Gino and getting his team ready to play and then taking on South Carolina. But overall, the men's slate, just with the NCAA baseball, then NCAA basketball, there was so much college sports on this weekend. So if you missed everything, shame on you, because the college game is ready to take over right now.
We're in February. We're right smack in the middle of February, and February is usually a pretty down month with sports. Do we start to see an uptick in action with the college basketball in preparation for March?
Yes, everyone thinks this is now NBA season. No, this is college basketball season. NBA doesn't really kick back into after April when the Final Four is there, but this is all college basketball right now. We saw great games over the weekend. You mentioned the ladies were outstanding. You even mentioned Juju Watkins from USC, who lit up the board against UCLA over the weekend. So it was great college basketball game this weekend.
How does the action around the women compared to the men? I mean, obviously the men, you're going to get a lot more action, but has the women really grown exponentially when it comes to, wagers?
Oh, huge. I mean, it's a Caitlin Clark effect 2.0. Now we have Paige Beckers. You have Juju this year. So it continues to grow. There were some times last year that women's basketball had more action than the NHL. So NHL is probably one of the worst bet sports out of the big 3 in the U.S. Some games last year had more action than the NHL.
All right, there you go. Good to have everybody aboard here today. Getting your week started here on Stadium. Of course, also on YouTube, Coach and Company. Coming up, won't go anywhere. We're going to have our weekend rewind plus one word. This is Coach and Company. Welcome back to Coach and Company. Glad to have you aboard here on Stadium on a Monday morning. Let's bring back our pals here. Let's get to one word. February is kind of a slow month in the sports world. I feel like a lot happened over the weekend. So much so that we only have time for one word. All right. Nah, not exactly, but you know what I mean. So let's start out with the slam dunk contest from Saturday night. NBA All-Star festivities. Mac McClung. They're letting guys every single year now. 3 straight years. You don't even have to be in the NBA. All right. Mac McClung makes history. Maybe this was the three-peat everyone's been talking about for the last couple of weeks. Mac McClung, 3rd straight dunk contest victory. First time ever in NBA All-Star history. Rafael, one word for Mac McClung.
I'm still shocked this guy doesn't have a McDonald's endorsement deal, but that's another story. But my one word is innovator, because I think him winning 3 straight, maybe we'll finally see some stars in a dunk contest. John Morant tweeted right afterwards, maybe I'll get to come back and get something. And then Giannis comes back and say, if you're in, I'm in. Maybe an innovator of winning a three-peat can change it and bring some stars into the dunk contest.
Saved. I'm with Barkley. I think he saved the dunk contest. I wasn't watching it in years past, but he kind of brought it back. I had to tune that out, but now I'm tuning in to actually watching that. And then he brought back out the car like Blake Griffin and actually jumped over a car. So yeah, I think he saved the dunk contest for now.
My one word would be miss. And no, it's not a miss on the competition. The NBA missed on the simple fact that, hey, let's dangle a little carrot in front of whoever wins. Let's say it's Mac McClung. Why not call out Ja Morant live on the microphone after the show and get him out there next year? Call out anybody you want. Go ahead and offer him an incentive to call out the big dogs. It'll only help him, but also the NBA.
Well, I'm going to break the rules here. I'm going to give you 2 words for Mac McClung winning his 3rd straight dunk contest. Who cares? Who cares? I mean, you got someone who's not even in the NBA winning the dunk contest. If you don't have to be in the NBA, he's appeared in 1 game. I mean, Mac McClung, did you know he played for the Orlando Magic this year? Who he play for? All right. If we're going to have guys in the dunk contest who are not even NBA players, why don't we take a walk over to Rucker Park in New York and find a great player there? He'll come and challenge Mac McClung if we're not doing actual NBA players. Who cares about Mac McClung winning the dunk contest? All right, let's keep it moving. LeBron last night. LeBron James shows up in street clothes, never takes them off. He lets everybody know about 30 minutes before the All-Star game gets going that he is sitting out. He's got foot. He's got boo-boo ankle. He's not going to play. Rafael, one word for LeBron last night.
Elder. Respect your elders. He's 100 years old. His feet and legs are hurting. I don't care. I was kind of glad that he didn't play. I want to see some young action on the court. So mine is elders. Respect your elders, and he needs to retire.
I was going to use yours from before. Who cares? We're lame because he had to make it about himself. So, yeah, LeBron not playing and maybe in the center of attention, I'm not surprised. So, really, who cares or lame with Mr. LeBron?
I'm going to go with boo! Boo that man. Boo LeBron. Like, why are we just sitting out at the last second? Like, let somebody know, hey, I might be missing this game. Get a backup just in case. Norm Powell, you available? I would have been better on that. But yeah, boo LeBron.
I got a hard time believing LeBron. It snuck up on him. The foot and ankle discomfort. He, by all accounts, had to have known a few days before that it's quite possible he was not going to play. And instead of letting everybody know and allowing another guy to, maybe a guy like Norman Powell, to take his spot and compete for the very first time in an All-Star game, he knows how to keep his name in the news, that's for sure. Showing up 30 minutes before and letting everybody know that he's not going to play. Adam Silver, he does his All-Star weekend press availability, and obviously he was asked about the anger from the Dallas Mavericks fan with the Luka Doncic trade. He says, quote, time will tell whether it was a smart trade. He also mentioned that he understands the frustration. Rafael, one word for Adam Silver this weekend.
Mine's hyphen, game-changing, because not only did this trade change the NBA, this changed all sports. Even football players are saying, hey, if Luka got traded, I can probably get traded. This is going to be a ripple effect, not just in the NBA, but in the NHL, Major League Baseball, NHL, ripple effect, game-changing this trade did.
smooth. He's just trying to smooth it over. And then I heard words that he wasn't aware of it. That kind of throws me off also. So yeah, I just think he's trying to smooth this one over. He knows it's a bad look for the league. I'm surprised he didn't come back and rescind this one like he did the CP3 one back in the day.
Well, that was David Stern, but I will
Oh
give
yeah, my
my
bad.
one word to oblivious question mark. Like, is Adam Silver just oblivious to all of this that's going on around him? There is zero chance, and so I don't think he's oblivious. I think he knows exactly what's happening, and so because of that, I think he has pie on his face. As it seems every year it's happening.
So I'm not sure if you guys noticed over the weekend because we're doing all kinds of NBA All Star talk. But on Saturday, I was dialed in the Zaslow Mansion. We were dialed into Team USA and Team Canada. This Four Nations face off tournament. I'm a huge hockey guy anyway, but this Four Nations face off tournament has been the balls. All right. And on Saturday night, boy, did it show up the NBA. Team USA, Team Canada, you got the Canadian fans there in Montreal's Bell Center and all across the NHL cities for the last couple of weeks. They've been booing the American anthem before the games. And of course, they did it in Montreal a few days ago when the United States took on Finland. And after that game, Matthew Tkachuk, who, by the way, he's Captain America. You want to talk about Captain America? Matthew Tkachuk is Captain America. Matthew Tkachuk was asked after the game, what do you make of the booing of the national anthem? He said, I don't like it, and that's all I'm going to say about it. Well, you know what? He let his fist do the talking because right at the start of the game, 2 seconds in, puck drops, he throws down, and then right after that, his brother Brady throws down, and then right after that, you got a third fight, 3 fights in the first 9 seconds of Team USA, Team Canada. Matter of fact, their father, Keith Tkachuk, very proud of his boys because he did something very similar back in 1996, Team USA and Canada. Within the first minute, he threw down as well. Rafael, one word for Captain America, Matthew Tkachuk, and his brother.
Scripted. They knew the NBA was all negative about their All-Star break. How could we pump the crowd and who's watching? Let's start a fight right away. I'm surprised someone didn't throw a chair onto the rink and someone say, oh no, there's a chair. Vince McMahon threw a chair into the rink. This was all scripted. There was text chains talking about the fight when they dropped it. So I say scripted.
Justified. He had all the right to come out and fight for his country. And what did it do? It has us talking about it this morning. So the NHL's getting some light, the tournament's getting some light. So I think he's truly justified for his actions.
I'm making this one word, Bash Bros. Like the Tkachuk boys are the Bash Brothers. Like they are kind of like taking this Four Nations tournament by storm. There's so much talk going on about them. And so I am not a hockey follower. I am a professional hockey capper, if you know me on other shows. But I love that hockey is being talked about at such a high level right now that I love this Four Nations tournament. And it's because of the Bash Bros.
The final round robin games are today, 1 p.m. Eastern time in Boston's TD Garden. The series have shifted there. You have Finland versus Sweden. And then tonight at 8 p.m., you have Finland versus Canada. And then tonight at 8 p.m., you got U.S. versus Sweden. The United States has already advanced. They are playing Thursday night in the championship game. Every other team is stuck on 2 points. So every team today is alive to advance and face the United States on Thursday night in Boston. If you're a hockey fan or if you're a fan of competition, today is a great, great hockey day with the Four Nations face-off tournament. All right, moving on. One more here for you guys. I need one word. Terrence Shannon Jr., rookie for the Minnesota Timberwolves. He played at Illinois. And over the weekend in Champaign, they're hosting Michigan State. Michigan State won the game. Who cares? At halftime, they're going to honor Terrence Shannon Jr. They're going to raise his jersey to the rafters. And he's on the floor, and you got the jersey. It's hanging right in front of him. And he's got to pull the rope, and you know the deal. The tarp comes off of the banner, and then everybody cheers and takes pictures, and they raise it up to the rafters where it's going to hang forever. Except he pulls the rope, and a gasp comes from the crowd because the banner is upside down. Rafael, one word.
Stupidity. How did this get past not just one pair of eyes, not just two pair of eyes, but multiple pair of eyes before they even put the cloth over it? Stupidity at best. I can't believe. I feel bad for Terrence Shannon Jr.
Premeditated. I believe he may have had some legal issues also. May have, some of the alumni might not have been happy with him, and they decided
Whoa.
to voice their opinion. So
Whoa.
premeditated.
Wow, Charles, I love that one. But I'm gonna channel my inner Homer Simpson. Don't like what are we doing? Like, who does that? Like, how did that get missed? There may be some tinfoil hat talk right there, Charles, that I like. That could be behind the scenes of all of it. But how do you miss that? Like, that's just a moment that is ruined instantly when you get the upside down banner. But that was pretty crazy.
The AD came out after the game, addressed the media before the coach spoke after the game, and took all the blame because he's the athletic director and everything that happens on that court in that building is his responsibility. And they were very embarrassed and ashamed, obviously. I felt bad for this kid, Terrence Shannon Jr. You know, leading up to it, he, his family, his friends, this is going to be, this at the moment, it's probably going to be the greatest moment of his life. They're going to raise his jersey to the rafters, and you don't get a do-over here. And it ends up being embarrassing and something that everybody's going to remember. He's got to put on a good face, you know, and try and laugh it off. And it gets worse because they then have to raise the banner. Like, it can't just stay hanging at center court. They have to raise the banner, and it hangs there the rest of the game upside down. Terrible. That's my one word. Terrible job there. Big time flub. All right, excellent job here, guys, with one word. As we continue on Coach and Company here on Stadium, coming up next, we're going to have your weekend rewind. Don't go anywhere.
Buzz in North America. The car's more documented than half my family. This is a little Dodge collection here. They're rare, they're cool, they're fast, and if I want to go take a drive right now, I can. I'm a huge Ric Flair fan, okay? I'm not just saying, really? I'm a huge Ric Flair, huge. And I'll show you just how big.
All right, let's go do it. Life is all about...
Woo!
Man.
All right, welcome to Wrestling Corner. And the reason why I call this Wrestling Corner is because not everyone is into wrestling. And since I had this space and I didn't know what to do with it, I had a lot of wrestling memorabilia and photos from over the years. And I says, you know what? I'm only gonna bring wrestling fans to this part of the building so they can see this. And I've had a few people here. I had Chris Jericho here. I had Stone Cold's been here. Kalisto's been here. X-Pac has been here. So, you know, it's been really, really cool to have these guys come out and like.
I bet they loved it. MJF? Wow.
Wait, let me see if I can unhook it. Look at it.
Wow. That's
from Chris Jericho right there. Did that, wrote on my wall. So my love for wrestling isn't just WWE, whether it's AEW or, you know, the early days of AWA. If you look up a little bit more, Paul Heyman's ECW. And actually, no, this is National Wrestling Alliance, the original logo for that. And up there's AWA, which is where Vince got most of his talent.
Yes,
I feel like AWA was like the WWE Farm League.
Yeah,
you know, because he just went over there.
OVW.
Everybody got pulled up right there. Once a month, I would stay up late as a kid, and I would watch the original Saturday Night's Main Event. Back when I was first started watching wrestling as a kid, there was only WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and Royal Rumble. It was the big four.
I love the intro there, the Marvel Fluffy intro. How about Fluffy? Huge pro wrestling fan. Hey, make sure you check out everything going on here on the YouTube page, all right? And, of course, that includes today at 1 p.m. You got the Coach and Bro Show. Make sure you check your pals, Coach, and, of course, the Bro, Vince Russo. All that excellent wrestling collection there by Fluffy. All right, very good. We're coming back here on Stadium in moments. Good to have you guys aboard here on a Monday. A lot of action to help us get started here this week. If you missed any of our plays, don't worry. That's coming up again. We're going to make sure you never miss anything here on Coach and Company. If you're just tuning in now, I don't know where you've been, but we'll make sure that we get you all caught up. All right, let's bring our pals back on here and let's get to the Weekend Rewind. Of course, our pals are Rafael, Charles, and DG. Weekend Rewind. A lot happens over the weekend. I don't know what's happened in your personal lives, and that's why we do Weekend Rewind here to see what stood out to you. Rafael, what do you got for us?
Everyone's talking about college basketball on the men's side. I was blown away on the women's side. I mean, we saw yesterday with UConn beating South Carolina in South Carolina, ending their 71-game home winning streak. Before the game was even played, they announced that South Carolina was one of the number one teams going into the tournament. Not no more. We saw Juju Watkins from USC blow up UCLA over the weekend as well. We saw great games yesterday. We saw North Carolina, NC State, 1-point winner. LSU loses to Texas. I just been blown away on how good the college basketball women's side has been, because everyone thought Caitlin Clark's going to pros. We're not going to see women's basketball. I think it's better this year than it was last year.
His loss loses them a number one seed in the tournament?
No, but they have not been playing like the old South Carolina we've seen. I think they can lose another game. If they lose another game, they'll be really skating on thin ice to grab another one, because there's some teams that have been playing some really, really good basketball.
It's one of the things that it's one of the main differences I find with college basketball this time of year than with college football, where, you know, you lose a game like this late in the season. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to plummet in the standings. You know, it's all about what your ranking or what your seed's going to wind up being. For instance, you know, you had Auburn win on the road this weekend at number 2 Alabama. When the new rankings come out, it shouldn't drop Alabama very much, and it's still all about getting a number 1 seed once the tournament rolls around. In college football, you lose in that spot, you're dropping a bunch of spots. Charles, Weekend Rewind, what stood out to you?
I'm going to go to the soccer world, and this has to do with red cards. We had a 12 red cards over the weekend. You know what? It's hard enough to handicap the sport, and we have to fight with VAR, but now we're including red cards. We had a large amount in the Europa leagues as well, and it's becoming a epidemic of red cards also. So hopefully they kind of lay back on those. Like I said, the sport's hard enough to handicap now. Now you add the red cards, and they're adding them early to matches. 10 minutes in, it just totally throws off your handicap. So hopefully we can eliminate those and just get back to some clean matches without VAR and red cards.
DG, what do you got for Weekend Rewind?
Yeah, so I'm going to look at the dunk contest, and it was kind of mid, to say the least. Like, it was fine, but I would look at somehow a way to change it. Like, if everybody's talking about, maybe you talked about Rucker Park earlier. Let's go ahead and bring in some non-NBA dunkers, because if you look at that Cavs halftime show that was before the break, they had some of the best dunkers around that were putting on a complete show. And so what I would do is I would simply bring in 3 outside dunkers and 3 NBA dunkers and put them head to head. The best ones move on to the championship, where it's 3 guys trying to win a cash bowl of money. Like, it's that simple. Put up some money, put some little pride on the line, and I think this could be the best dunk contest going forward.
I'll tell you, for me, you know, the NBA All-Star last night, it stunk. You had a 3-hour broadcast where only 42 minutes were actual basketball. There was so much nonsense going on. But one part of the nonsense involved the biggest YouTuber in the world, Mr. Beast. And Mr. Beast out of nowhere shows up. I think it was at halftime maybe, or like during one of the breaks of one of the semifinal All-Star games. Who the heck can keep track with all the nonsense from last night? But Mr. Beast is out there, center court, with a bin with $100,000 in cash. And he's got Damian Lillard with him. They pick someone from the crowd. Shout out to Jaren. They pick Jaren out from the crowd, and he has to make one shot from the NBA logo before Damian Lillard makes 3 shots from the NBA logo. And Lillard winds up making 2. And then right before the buzzer, because they got to go to commercial break, they're running out of time. Jaren banks in the shot from the logo and wins $100,000. But the main point I'm bringing this up, guys, shout out to Damian Lillard, all right, for being a great sport and participating in this. Because most of these NBA players, and it's why you don't get them doing the dunk contest, it's why they'll never do a one-on-one tournament like the Unrivaled, the women are doing right now. They're so afraid to lose. They're so afraid to look bad. And Damian Lillard, who knows? Maybe he goes out there and he's chucking up bricks and he looks like, he looks terrible. No, he got up there and he's participating in something fun. Now, did he miss those shots at the end, or did he miss those shots at the end so the kid can wind? The kid still got to make it, all right? No matter what Damian Lillard did, that's a good job. A great sport there, Damian Lillard. I enjoyed that. That was my favorite part of the night. Mr. Beast giving away that. All right, there you go. That is our weekend rewind. Let's bet some of the futures. Yes, we are betting the futures. How great would it be to have the almanac from Back to the Future? Oh my God, that'd be so much fun. Rafael, you're telling me when you were a kid, you didn't think about that, how amazing it would be to have the almanac from Back to the Future?
Yeah, because my cross street neighbor was a bookie. Yeah, it would have been great to have it back then. I would have been making a lot of money when I was 12 years old.
Rafael, get us going here for betting the futures. March Madness NCAA tournament. The top seeds are going to be who?
I got Auburn coming out of the South. I have Florida coming out of the Midwest. I have Houston, which I think great value at 10-1 to win the tournament, coming out of the West. And in the East, I have Duke. But there's some good sleepers out there: Purdue, Kentucky, and Texas A&M. Don't sleep on this Purdue team. Everyone thought they were going to be rebuilding because they lost Sagidi, but they've been playing some really good ball, and they're playing better defense than they did last year. But I like Houston at 10-1.
So you have Alabama dropping out of one of those 4 number 1 seeds. Do you expect when the new poll comes out that Houston will also be ranked in the top 4 and Alabama will drop out?
We have to see what both teams play some good opponents this week. Maybe not this week, but I can see Alabama losing twice before the tournament starts.
Charles, top 4 seeds in the NCAA tournament right now are looking like what?
I'm not a big NCAA guy, but as what I have, Auburn out of the South, I was looking at, then Florida potentially out of the West, Midwest Alabama, and then Duke out of the East.
It's a huge advantage. You got to remember, for a team like Auburn, part of the reason that Auburn, Alabama. Oh, Charles just went dark. You're like Batman. You're very, very dark now. Auburn and Alabama. Part of the reason that was such a huge game this weekend, number 1 versus number 2. If you end up being the number 1 overall seed in the tournament, DG, you then get to play closer to home, which you would assume would be the Atlanta region for a team like Auburn. If you only got to drive from Alabama to Georgia, you bring your fans, your family, all the alum. That's a major advantage for a team like Auburn. Who do you have here as your 4-1 seeds?
Yeah, and so I'm going to kind of go exactly as Rafael did, and that is no shot to what Rafael picked. I just think that I love the exact same guys, and that does not make for great content. But I'm going to go Auburn, Duke, Florida, and then we're going to end up with Houston. And I looked at this many different ways. I want to see which team had 4 or less losses so far. For the simple fact that I think that we're winding down on the season, and there's not many games left. And then I was looking at the different schedules, and Houston just has the chance to string some wins together to end up into the driver's seat there in a different conference other than the SEC. The SEC won't get 3 teams as 1 seeds. And so I just had to somehow put Alabama out of that because they play Kentucky twice, which is big. And then they end their season against an Auburn team. And so I'm looking at this Auburn team to really be a dominant team. and then Duke being that number 2 seed overall, just because they don't play a lot of people, and the ACC just wasn't what it was. And so I do like that Houston team to be my 4th seed, but they're going to have to catch Alabama as the best 2 seed overall.
Boy, how about, all right, Charles is back. I was going to say, Charles, you let us know you're not a huge NCAA men's basketball guy. And you just said, you know what? I'm getting out of here. I'm up and dipping. No more. I'm done. Glad you're back.
Appreciate that. Glad to be back.
So March Madness right around the corner. But also, if you notice what's going on, and I know DG doesn't believe that there'll be 3 number 1 seeds from the SEC. But Rafael, are we in a place where we're going to say that the SEC is a more dominant basketball conference than it is football conference?
The way it's trending, yeah, because I think the transfer portal is hurting the SEC football than it's helping the SEC basketball. So yeah, I can see basketball doing really well. Yes, they're scheduled to have 14 teams in a tournament. They'll probably get 12. Georgia probably won't make it. They're probably, I think, last 4 out. So I think Arkansas will be out as well. I think they get 12 teams in. But the way the SEC basketball has been playing, they're going to be forced for many years, unless maybe Big Ten can boost up. Don't sleep on Big 12 of Arizona going there, but I think right now SEC basketball is at the best.
DG, I got 30 seconds. There was one SEC team in the Final Four in the college football playoff. That was Texas. Will there be more than that in the Final Four in basketball?
Yes, the SEC is just too good. I think they will have 2 teams in the Final Four, but man, I just don't know how in the world that they get more than that as 1 seeds overall, because they're going to beat each other as they go down the stretch.
You may be able to make the case it's going to be harder to win the SEC tournament. They got 9 teams ranked right now than it would be to win 6 games in the NCAA tournament and win the national championship. That's how strong the SEC is right now in men's college basketball. Don't go anywhere. More Coach and Company coming up here on Stadium.
Some things they don't talk about is the funk that you walk around with every single day. So our brand new sponsor is Mando from shopmando.com. And I said, hey, if we're going to have it here on the show, you're going to send it to me so I can try it before we even get it on the show. So here's what we're going to do. I got my starter pack about a week ago, and I've been trying it. I have never smelled better, Vince, than I have in the last week. So here's what the starter pack looks like. You can have your stick of deodorant. You can have your your tube of deodorant, which most places don't have because you normally just put it in the normal places. Not here with Mando, because the doctor who founded it, she's amazing. But she also realized you got funk all over your body. Then you get 2 free items as part of the starter pack. I decided to go with something that I think you would wear. The bourbon leather body wash or the deodorant wipes. Those are the 2 free items that I chose. And if they use the code EXPLODES, EXPLODES, you get $5 off. That's the equivalent of 40% off your Mando starter pack at shopmando.com. And Vince, one other thing, they threw in the cleansing bar. I haven't even opened it. You can smell it through the box. It's that good. Shopmando.com. Could not be more excited. Your thoughts?
Okay. Let's put the mamby-pamby aside. Gentlemen, and I use that term loosely, listening to this show, it took me 64 years to come up with a cure for the sweaty balls. You know what I'm talking about, gentlemen, and I don't wear any underwear, so it's 3 times as worse. 64 years I'm walking around with the sweaty balls, coach, and then I get these Mando wipes, bro. These Mando wipes, I go down to the grundle. I use these wipes on the grundle. 72 hours, odor-free. 72 hours, balls smelling like baby powder. 72 hours, gentlemen. Come on, man. If you want the hey nanny, you can't have a stinky grundle down there. Mando is the answer. All right, coach, let's get down to business.
I mean, there is no way there's ever been a better endorsement for Mando than what Vince Russo just gave you right there. Cleaning up that grundle. Good job out of Vince Russo. All right, Let's get to Round the Rink presented by Mando. Oh, this is right up my alley. I mean, I am so into the Four Nations face-off. Mark Wallace, better days ahead, joining us here for Round the Rink, presented by Mando. Hello, Mark. How are you enjoying the Four Nations face-off?
Z-Man, good morning. I'm loving this. It has turned out to be just a fantastic tournament, and it's really set the stage on just how far the USA team has come as far as international play is concerned. I think it's been a great event.
How about before the loss on Saturday night that Team Canada had to the US? They had gone 26 consecutive international games with Sidney Crosby in the lineup without losing. They were 41-5 all time with Crosby in the lineup. That snapped a 26-game streak with Sid the Kid.
Yeah, you're talking about a 15-year span. 15 years where Canada has just dominated the international hockey scene. And I love the fact that the U.S. came out, whether it was staged, whether it was scripted, or whether it was just pure out, let's set the tone for this game. And we're going to have 3 fights within 9 seconds to get Canada's attention and to really pump up this USA team. And to do what they did in Canada to Canada is a testament, again, of just how far along we've come in the international hockey game.
Now, Canada's playing Finland at 1 p.m. Eastern time today. Every team is still alive. The U.S. has already advanced. 3 other teams are stuck at 2 points. We're all rooting for Canada, right? Like, we want a U.S.-Canada rematch Thursday night, this time on American soil, right?
Yeah, and it leads right into my play, Z-Man, because I think that looking at today's schedule, I am going with the 2 scenarios that really have to happen. I'm taking Canada on the 3-way money line, and I'm going to parlay that with a USA money line win. You can get that for plus 116. I think it's a great way to approach both of these games. Canada has to win. And not only do they have to win in regulation to separate themselves from Finland and Sweden, depending on the outcomes of, obviously, with Finland. They need to beat Finland in regulation to get themselves into the championship game and hope that the U.S. team takes care of Sweden with any sort of win so that, yes, we get a rematch for the USA and Canadian hockey teams for the championship. Go ahead.
I was going to say, when it comes to the right, Mark, where now it's not like the NBA where you could sit all your starters and you play the guys at the end of your bench, but there's going to be a couple guys, one of them most likely Matthew Tkachuk, who's a little bit banged up, that are not going to go tonight since they've already clinched. So we got to be aware of that when we're talking about our wagers, right?
But again, we're talking about not just a regular NHL hockey team put together and assembled for this tournament. We're talking about the best of the best. The USA has a lineup from top to bottom on the offensive side of the rink that is, it's just packed. The Tkachuk brothers are now playing on that front line together with Eichel in the middle, which is the first time we're seeing the Tkachuk brothers play not just on the same team, but on the same line. And it has been phenomenally just productive for the USA team. But those lines go all the way down to the 4th line as well. They're solid on defense, and more importantly, they have the best goaltending in this tournament. I love the USA spot here because you can plug or play and pull somebody out, and the replacement is just as capable and is a MVP by their own right.
Has been centering that line with the Tkachuk brothers, but that wasn't the original line when they started off in this Four Nations face-off. The coach then moved Eichel or moved Brady onto the line with Jack Eichel and Matthew Tkachuk when everyone was screaming about put the Tkachuk brothers together and put Eichel in between them. Was that just some gamesmanship that they decided, all right, we're not going to start the tournament like this, but we're definitely going to have this as our line?
I think when they first started out, Z-Man, I think that they were looking at how do you spread the Tkachuk brothers from a depth standpoint so that you're maximizing the most time with them on the ice. It became very clear that when they are on the same line together with Eichel in the middle, they exploded for goals. And that the quality outweighs the quantity as far as time on ice is concerned.
Mark Wallace, better days ahead with the hockey picks for us today. Tell everybody how they can get in touch with you.
Absolutely. Let me give you one more real quick for the last game tonight. We're going to take the Sweden team total under 2.5 goals at -135. Look, one thing has happened in this entire tournament for the United States, and they have not allowed more than 2 goals to be scored against them. In fact, they've only allowed 1 in each of their 2 games. I love this spot for Hellebuck and the U.S. team. You can get a hold of me at Better Days Ahead. That's BETTOR, Days Ahead on the X. And yeah, that's our Around the Rink.
Enjoy the Four Nations today. It's going to be a great day of hockey. Excellent job there, Mark. And of course, Mando is bringing us round the rink. Shopmando.com. Come on, you got to get that grundle smelling good. All right, you guys know what time it is. If you missed any of our show today, we want to make sure that you're still up to speed. Let's lock it in. Oh, yes, here we go. Look at those beautiful, look at those pictures. I mean, my goodness, if I had any of those pictures, I would have you guys sign them. Let's start out with DG. What are your best bets for today? Come on now.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Duke and Virginia going over the 131.5 at -115. Both these teams are trending in the right direction. This could be a 74-64 type of game. Then we're going to go Baylor on the money line tonight, -115. Baylor is very good at home, 12-1 at home this season. And they're going to continue that tonight.
Italy, Syria.
Charles, I gotta interject real quick. I mean, just again, what can you send me a wallet size of that headshot right there? I want a wallet size of that so I can keep it around with me. What a beautiful picture! I love it. Go ahead.
I appreciate that. Yeah, got a little Italy, Syria, Genoa, Venezia. Both teams to score. Genoa, they allow 1.3 goals at home, and Venezia, they concede 2 goals on the road. I think at worst we see a 1-1 final score in this spot.
I'm going with the Duke team total over 72.5 -125. They put up a century mark in their last game, and this is not the same Virginia defense we've seen. 16 out of their 25 games have gone over the total, and Duke is almost averaging 80 points again. I'm going to piggyback on DG's play. Hurry up and grab that one, because don't forget, Virginia has lost back-to-back games, and their numbers probably, Arizona has lost back-to-back games. Baylor numbers probably going to move. It's a late game, probably get better number, hit it now before the number moves.
All right, there you go. So now everybody is up to speed. You know how to get the week started. How did the weekend go? Did anybody hit DG? Did anyone hit anything big as far as the All-Star goes, the dunk contest, the three-point shootouts? Maybe there was a prop for who's going to cheat in the skills competition. That's obviously that sneaky bastard, Chris Paul. DG, did you hit on anything big this weekend?
I didn't hit on anything big, but we have our weekend wager show over at Sleepers Media. And one of the guys, Robbie Hockey, which you all know, went 0-4. And so he has to do actually the one chip challenge on the show next Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you check it out over at Sleepers Media. But that's the biggest hit for me, was him going 0-4 and having to do the one chip challenge.
Now, what's that, the one chip challenge? Like, what kind of chip is it? What do you got to do there?
Yeah, so it's a Carolina Reaper maybe, or something. It's a super hot chip that makes your mouth and just everything just engulf in flames in a sense. And so he has to do it live. And so he is not a guy who does hot, spicy stuff well. So he was just sweating us explaining the punishment if you go 0-4. And so the fact that you go 0-4 is punishment enough, but then you have to do a punishment. That it's terrible.
All right. That sounds like something I'm not interested in eating. Rafael, spit it due to everybody. Go ahead.
I'm going to go to the ponies. Fairgrounds had Risen Star Stakes. It's piggyback to the Louisiana Derby. The winner was an 88-1, and the second place winner was Chunk for Gold, a 54-1. The dollar exact to pay $2,300. For $1, you could have got $2,300.
Charles, you have the last word. 5 seconds. Go.
Your boy Tyler Hero to win the 3-point contest plus 500.
Hey, good job out of you. Make sure you join us tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. Coaching Company right here on Stadium.